Happy Friday once again, friends and family, and welcome to the Weekender. Well, welcome to the NBA because NBA Dub Nation, they tip off next week, Tuesday. We get the start of the season. I think the boys got a really good chance of going back to back, especially we're starting the season off with a little controversy that kind of brings the team together. We'll see. Maybe we'll get a big trade. Who knows what's happening? Baseball is right in the heat of the playoffs. Right now, I don't have a team to pick, but if I had to choose one of the California teams, whoever come out of that Dodger Padres series, I might have to ride with them just to be a California boy. And so, one of the topics that we haven't really discussed here on the weekend, which I thought this would be a great opportunity with the market doing what it's doing a little shift. We've never really dug into one of the most important aspects of a real estate transaction, and that is the appraisal. And with appraisals right now, we haven't heard a whole lot about them, but I've actually got some positive sides on my behalf because of me being aggressive in getting, I think, what we might call a overpriced house under asking, which I've been able to do. And so we're going to sit here and talk about appraisals. This might turn out to be a two-part thing because the appraisal piece, it's really in depth and what we have to kind of think about and kind of discuss so that you can be prepared, one, as a buyer, two, as a homeowner if you're thinking about selling and this comes to where you want to price your house right based upon comps and so forth so you don't get stuck in the end if you're overpriced and the appraisal come in less than what we're looking for. So let's just kind of start off like this. When we talk about a home appraisal, we're talking about what is an appraisal. Appraisal is one person's unbiased opinion, okay, in most cases, what they feel a value of a house is. Now, in most cases, we have some criteria which kind of determine what these criteria and what comes out of the value. The first thing that we're going to kind of talk about when it comes to there are five main characters which kind of come up with the value of what an appraisal should look like. So the first criteria is location. Typically, when an appraiser comes out, one of the criteria he looks at is your location. He takes into account, most of them use anywhere from a mile, maybe 2 mile radius, if they can, within comps to find comparable listings. Another determining factor which they look at is the age of the property. The age of the property is really important depending on what type of neighborhood you're in. If you're in a newer neighborhood versus an older neighborhood, that will kind of determine some of the value. The third aspect of it is the condition. What is the condition of your property? Is it a really good condition? Is it in a condition where it needs a little facelift or, we need some paint? There's a lot of things that kind of go on with the condition. We'll kind of deal in that a little bit later. Additions or renovations. Have you done any additions and renovations to your house? We have a cost kind of factor that kind of gets factored in when it comes to additions, what that value may mean to your house. Renovations, what does a new kitchen mean to your house and cost-wise. And finally, the most important thing is recent sales and comparison. Recent comparable homes that have sold in your neighborhood. These are the comps at which the appraiser, which I consider an opinion based upon what they choose at that time to kind of value your house. Typically, a home appraiser is going to take anywhere from 14 days to 17 days to get an appraisal done. And it's one of the contingencies typically when we write up an offer. It's one of the most important pieces of closing out a transaction when we're involved in a purchase agreement one way or another, whether you're the seller or you're the buyer. The appraisal becomes one of the most important things that we have to deal with. Now, there are typically three conclusions that we have when it comes to an appraisal. First of all, the first conclusion we come to is, hey, it appraises and it matches what we call the purchase price, what we've agreed upon, and everybody is kumbaya, thank you. Appraisal came in. The second thing that we deal with is the valuation of the property actually came in higher than what we actually agreed upon, which is good. My last two closings, the appraiser has came in over because we've actually got the price under and the comps were a little bit higher. And then we're going to kind of end on this note for this weekend. The valuation comes in a little bit lower. And we're going to kind of discuss that in part two of this. This is a two-part thing because I think we need to kind of chew on a little bit of meat right here. So, again, thank you for tuning in to The Weekender. Tune in to part two of Home Appraisal because I think it's some good information here. If you're thinking about bringing your house to the market, you know the number's always on the screen. And I look forward to connecting with you guys next week.